Good morning, traders. How are you all doing today? Karibuni sana. Glad you could all join us this fine Friday morning. Hope everyone's week has been doing well, at least on the charts as well as personally. So, apologies for starting a few minutes late. There were some fundamentals that were coming out at 9 o'clock, both euro and British pound fundamentals. So we will end up expecting at least some movement during the London on both pairs, but that's the reason why we did end up having to adjust a few things, and apologies for that. So we can jump straight into it. So hello everyone, how are you doing today? My name is Mitch Kaniero, and I'm a trader with Afriforex. I want to welcome you to another Afriforex daily analysis session. Now you do know during these webinars, or at least during these sessions, we as the Afriforex team, we analyze the markets, we identify what trading opportunities we would be looking at taking for the day, and we do end up sharing that information with you. So, as usual, not here alone. We do have John, who is in the back office, so he'll be here to assist with whatever questions or queries you might have. So, if you do have any questions, even for John, feel free to ask those questions on the chat box. John will be there to respond to you, but I will be addressing still all those questions at the end of the webinar. So, let's jump straight into it since we are starting a few minutes late. So, we'll start off as usual with our watch list. So comparing yesterday and today, yesterday we were looking for selling opportunities on the euro, the Canadian dollar, the yen, and the Swiss franc. And we were looking to mix and match those pairs with the pairs on the buy side. So that's the New Zealand dollar, the British pound, the Australian dollar, as well as the US dollar. Now you can see today there's been a slight change, still focusing on the euro, the Canadian dollar, and the Swiss franc. However, you can realize that the US dollar has now moved to the sell side, and vice versa in terms of the yen has moved to the buy side. So our focus today will be these four pairs on the sell side. So we'll be looking for selling opportunities on the euro, mixing and matching them with all the pairs on the buy side, doing the same with the Canadian dollar, the Swiss franc, as well as the US dollar. So before we do jump on today's pairs, let's have a look at the pairs that we did have yesterday that we're not going to be looking at today. We obviously need to always review our trades so we can end up learning from them, see what happened, how can we improve so that make sure that the next trading day is a better one, and at least make sure you're avoiding any mistakes that you're actually making. So let's jump into the pairs for review. So we'll start off with the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. Now remember, yesterday our bias here was to look for buying opportunities. You can see the three areas that we had pointed out. Now, unfortunately, you can see at 10 o'clock, we're hoping to see the price potentially coming back within this area. But you can see once it broke to the downside, this pair really did fall off our watch list. Even though you can see at around 3 o'clock, we did end up getting a move to the upside. So you can see from 3, if I can put this level right here at exactly where 3 was, you can see that where price was within a bias area. You can see the buyers did end up attempting to try and come up higher. It did manage to get all the way to the top within this middle SNR area that we did have. But you can see after that, when the price came down, it never actually held above within this area. And you can see that just confirmed that this level had been broken to the downside, showing a lot of USD weakness, and that's the reason why we're not going to be looking for any buying opportunities on USD pairs. That's the reason why also this pair is off our watch list for today. Now, the next pair we did have was the New Zealand dollar against the Japanese yen. This kind of pair, our bias was to look for buying opportunities, and you can see the three areas that John had pointed out. Now, it seems that this market mainly moved during the Asian session as well as the London session. You can see the Asian session right there from midnight. Price really came up quite aggressive. We got a pullback coming in back within the support and resistance area. And you can see the market opening times that we keep on mentioning, 10, 3, and 4:30. Those are the best times to look for trades. And you can see at 10 o'clock, the price was within this buyer's area. And you can see the price did manage to continue going up all the way throughout the London session. But you can see during the US session around 3 and 4:30, the price was right there at the top. And you can see the US big boys actually have started bringing this price down lower. So that's the reason why for today, this is a pair that's going to be off our watch list. Even though the buys worked out nicely, unfortunately, there will be no buying opportunities for us today on that pair. Now, moving on to the next kind of pair we did also have the Australian dollar against Japanese yen. You can see the three areas that we had pointed out in the game plan that we were looking at, hoping to see the price coming up, down, giving a more of a pullback within the support and resistance area. Unfortunately, that did not happen. And remember, the yen pairs are very much correlated. So you can see at 10 o'clock, even though we're not within this bias area, you can see we're within this small support and resistance area. Price was holding within that location, and we didn't manage to actually go to the upside during the London session. Wanted to see a pullback coming in, and the pullback came in, confirming that the price is actually holding above within this area, and that was at 3 o'clock. But you can see as the buyers attempted to go up higher, this high, where the sellers didn't manage to push down from before, You can clearly see the price was there at 430, and we did end up having a look at also the New Zealand dollar against the yen. 430, the prices did start coming down lower. The fact that today we had some yen fundamentals that did potentially, or at least we're expecting some strength on the yen pairs. That's why this is a pair that could definitely end up giving us issue today, and that's why it is off our watch list. Now, moving on to the next pair we did have the US dollar against the Swiss franc. Now, remember, while looking for buying opportunities on this current pair, can see the 3 areas that John had pointed out. Now, initially, when we were having this session earlier in the morning, the price was within this particular area. Wanted to see whether or not we could get the price coming back up within this location and holding above. But you can see 10 o'clock, the price confirmed that the price was holding below. Did manage to try and come down lower. Fortunately, could not get towards our buyer's area. Can see the sellers did slow down for the market side moving at around 2 o'clock. So this was just before the US session. So it might have been a bit difficult to actually grab that trade right there. Can see even afterwards, around 3, the price did end up attempting to break this area to the upside. We got a small confirmation. There was a small buying opportunity, but this one, even for us, would have been a bit difficult to get. Even though the price managed to get up there, can see the pullback starting to come in. That's not necessarily a good sign, the fact that the price has attempted to go up higher and has not been able to. So that's the reason why the fact that both the US dollar and the Swiss franc are on the same side, chances are we could find this market actually continuing to range. So no clear direction for us today. So moving on to the next pair we did also have the euro against the US dollar. Now on this pair, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. You can see the 3 areas that we had pointed out. Now at 10 o'clock, the price actually broke this area to the upside and held above. So at that point in time, there was no trading opportunity for us. You can see the price managed to get all the way to some extreme sellers right there. And if you notice, the price was there just before the US market did end up opening. So at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you can see the price did really try and come down quite aggressive. We did get a small hold to the downside, and we did end up coming back into our watch list. But once this move to the upside really did come in, there was some issues there. And you can see afterwards, the price just bounced off, confirming that the price had actually broken this area to the upside and was holding above. So unfortunately, there was no trading opportunity for us yesterday, although we did end up getting a few people who did manage to grab some selling opportunities on this, which we'll end up having a look at. But unfortunately for us today, can see that US dollar weakness. So that's the reason why it is off our watch list for today. Now, last but not least, for the review pairs, we did also have the British pound against the Japanese yen. Remember, we did mention the yen pairs are very much correlated. So remember, during the London session, we did see the prices really moving to the upside. So there's a buying opportunity there. We did get a pullback coming back within the support and resistance area. At 10 o'clock, similar situation with the New Zealand dollar against the yen. There was a buying opportunity there. For those of you who look at candlestick patterns, there was a small pin bar right there. And you can see the price did manage to go up throughout the London session. Now, similar situation during the US session. The buyer attempted to go up higher, could not, before the sellers really did end up coming in just around 430 or so. And you can see after that, there's been no buying opportunity available for us. So unfortunately, also for today, this is going to be a pair that's off our watch list. So before we do jump on to today's pairs, let's end up having a look at a few screenshots that we didn't manage to get. So we'll start off here with George Tege. You did manage to grab a very nice buying opportunity on gold. You can see the buy right there. Price is moving up in your favor, so very well done. The stop loss already above your entry, and happy to see that you have already managed some of your trades. So the fact that your stop loss is here, even though the price comes back, the fact that you've secured a good amount of pips right there at the top, at least this is a risk-free trade, and the only thing that can happen in this is how much more money you can make. So very, very good job on this trade, George. So also next, we did get Dan Bickett did manage to grab a very nice buying opportunity on the WS30, the Dow Jones. You can see a buy right there after a pullback coming back towards the support resistance area. You can see the price really going up in your favor. It seems that you got 2 buys, and both of them do seem to be at break even already. So very, very good job on that trade, Dan Bickett. We also did get the euro against the US dollar. Remember, we just had a look at that. Dan, you did manage to grab a very nice sell right there at the top. Can see even a good multiple sells actually. Price is coming down very much in your favor. Your stop loss is already below your entry, and it does seem you have 2 take profit targets. But I also hope you didn't end up setting alerts within these areas to at least close to some of your position. Because remember, we just had a look at this pair, and it did manage to go back up. So that's the importance of at least making sure you are managing your trades. So very, very good job on that trade, Dan Bickett. And you also did manage to grab a buying opportunity on the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. Did seem to get those buying opportunities of the US dollars at the extremes. Very nice buying within a buyer's area. Stop loss already at your break even, and you can see the price going up in your favor. So very, very good job with these trades, and Pickett. Keep up the great work that you're doing. So remember, guys, if you do manage to take any setups based on things that we do share right here today, feel free to send them into us. There should be some contact details right there in the chat box, and we will end up trying to give you as much insight as possible on your trades. So let's jump straight into today's pairs. So we'll start off with the euro pairs. We'll mix and match them with the pairs on the buy side. Do the same thing with the Canadian dollar, then the Swiss franc before we move on to the US dollar. Then we'll end up having a look at the indices as well as gold and silver. So we'll start off with the euro pairs. So starting off with the euro against the New Zealand dollar. Now, this is a currency pair that we did have yesterday and still have today. I can see the three areas that John had pointed out. Ideally, we're meant to be looking for selling opportunities. Now, at 10 o'clock, the price had already started coming down lower. So the fact that we had approached this buyer's area, there was no selling opportunity for us. We needed either a proper breach to the downside and the price holding below for us to look for sells. But you can see the price did not really breach very convincingly. It was just holding within that area. And you can see the price came back in, was holding above within that particular buyer's area at 3 o'clock. And you can see the US big boys started giving us the pullback. But you can see we just wanted to get much better price. And you can clearly see that's exactly what happened, where the price has come up a bit higher than this particular area. You can see the sellers showing clear evidence that this level is still holding. You can see a first probe right there. Attempted to break that area to the upside again. It could not. And the fact that the price has come back within that location, you can see the price does seem to be reacting now. So overall, we'll still be focusing on the same areas, looking for those selling opportunities. Remember, right now, do not chase the market. This is now the first clear evidence that we've gotten that the big boys could potentially be back. So remember, the main thing we should end up waiting for is a potential pullback within this particular area. Might not necessarily get all the way to there. Watch out for certain support and resistance areas within that location before we're able to look for those selling opportunities. Right now, it's very easy for many people to start jumping in on sells, and it would be very obvious as to where they're putting their stop losses. If, let's say, someone tried to selling there, you can see a stop loss would have to be here. Don't be surprised if the price can even just spike within this particular area, come back in, and then give you another selling opportunity. So that's the reason why I would encourage this trade would not make sense. 0.62 in terms of risk to reward. But you can see if you just try and get yourself slightly higher, you end up getting close to 1:3, around 1:2.5. So do end up being patient, wait for the price to come back within your area for you to potentially look for that selling opportunity. So hope that's clear on the euro against the New Zealand dollar. Moving on to the euro against the British pound. So in this currency pair, yesterday our bias was to look for selling opportunities. So you can see the three areas that John had pointed out yesterday. Now, initially, we're within a buyer's area. So remember, we do not want to sell at a buyer's area. You can see the buyers did end up reacting. We're hoping to see the price coming up a bit higher within this particular location. But unfortunately, that's not what happened, because you can see the fact that we're hoping to see the price coming back within this main seller's area right there at the top. You can see the fact is we came back within a small seller's area there. You can see how many times the price bounced within there before it actually took off to the downside. So overall, we're still going to look for sells. You can see the sells worked out very nicely. And you can see this was just before the London market opened at 2 o'clock. It seems that potentially there were some news events around that time. But you can see after the breach to the downside, the price did end up giving us a pullback, confirming that it was holding below. And if you do note the time, that was at 4:30. So there was a selling opportunity as well during the US session. So today, the bias here is going to be looking for selling opportunities. Right now, as the price is coming down, remember there were some fundamentals that were coming out at 9 o'clock, which definitely could be moving the market, or both euro and British pound fundamentals. The euro for the weak side, the British pound for the strong side. So it will be interesting to see what pair is actually moving this. Is this the euro showing weakness, or is this the British pound showing strength? But regardless, we definitely know some big boys are definitely interested in this pair. Right now, the fact that the way the prices have come down. But remember, don't chase the market. Get confirmation that the price is actually going to hold below within this area. If you do see the price holding below, then there you could definitely end up getting a nice selling opportunity. But remember, if the price comes back in and it holds to the upside, then there's no trading opportunity yet. We could still find that the market is still ranging within this area, and we could get the price coming back within this location before we're able to look for the selling opportunities there. So right now, this is a very important level. Let's wait to see. We need to confirm that the price is actually holding below that location. So Hope that is clear on the euro against the British pound as we move on to the next euro pair, which is the euro against the Australian dollar. Now, yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities, and you can see the three areas that John had pointed out. Now, we're hoping to see, because we can see the price was within this bias area during the London market open. Wanted to see either a pullback coming back in, because that would have been a much better opportunity for us to look for sell. Because remember, we do not want to sell when the price is all the way down here. But you can see the price managed to break this area to the downside. We did see a pullback coming in. So in the 3 o'clock, the price did look as if it was holding below this area. In fact, look for a small selling opportunity within this particular location. As you can see, it was a very tight trading opportunity right there. Even though it looks very small, you can see the potential was a 1:3. Unfortunately, the price could not get all the way there. You can see just around 1:2 came back within this small bars area before 4:30. The price started giving us a pullback coming back up. Apologies. So today, the fact that the price has pulled back, our bias here is still to look for selling opportunity. And I am seeing some correlation potentially coming in with the Australian dollar, starting to show a bit of strength. Potentially the big boys are interested in the Australian dollar. And the reason for that, or at least the reason why I'm saying that, is because this looks very similar to a pair that we just had a look at. Oh, sorry, it was the euro against the New Zealand dollar. Sorry for that. So it definitely has something to do with the euro, not the New Zealand dollar, for us to end up looking for our selling opportunities. Because you can see the way the price has actually given us a probe right there within that area, given us a pullback, and the sellers do seem as if they're coming down. But remember, keep on mentioning, do not sell within a buyer's area. If you jump in on your sell here, there's a wall right in front of you where there's a buyer right there. I mean, if you jump into a car, you will not press the accelerator fully if there's a wall right in front of you. So it's a similar situation. You'd rather want the wall a bit further. So hopefully within this situation, let's hope we can end up getting some sort of pullback coming in before we're able to look for those selling opportunities there. So if we do end up getting the fact that this is confirming the big boy sellers are here, we could end up still getting the price giving us a pullback right there before we're able to look for your selling opportunities. And remember, sell right there at the top is much better. So if you think about selling here, then that's a big issue most people have when they're trying to chase the market. If you enter a trade there, it does not even give you a risk reward of 1:1. But you can see as soon as you move your entry there and you try and get your entry within that there, it automatically even almost is giving you a 1:3. You can see 1:2.7 or so. So do be patient, wait for the prices within these areas. Potentially even you can end up setting alerts within that location. So if the price ends up getting back to that area, you will be notified and you can be able to make a decision at that time. But for now, let's wait to see what ends up happening. But based on what we've seen, the three pairs, it does seem that the euro yen, or at least the euro weakness, is starting to come in. So moving on to the next euro pair, we do have the euro against the Japanese yen, brand new entry on our watch list. So yesterday, we're not looking for any trading opportunities on this, but today we will be looking for selling opportunities. So the fact that the price has been going to the upside, you can see the struggle of the buyer attempting to make a new high, which it couldn't. You can see the price managed to come down very aggressive. And this is a very good example of actually what I'm talking about. It's a similar situation with the pairs that we've looked at. Right now, it looks as if that the price really came down very aggressive. All those sellers trying to sell there would not be a good idea. If you did end up seeing the price coming back in that area and then starting to move down, if you did jump in on your selling opportunities there, you can see the price still managed to come back within the buyer's area before it actually ended up taking off. So you do need to be patient. And that's the reason why we're pointing that out for the euro against the Australian dollar. You can see it looks something similar. So don't be surprised or don't say that the market is going to leave without you. Don't have that FOMO. Do end up having to be patient. Even if it leaves you, wait for the next one because it's definitely going to be another and another and another. So wait to see what ends up happening there. But similar situation right now as the price is starting to come down on the euro against the yen. You can see we've been holding within this buyer's area. We are getting the price breaking this area to the downside. Remember, this has not been confirmed yet because we need the price to actually give us some sort of pullback coming in, confirming that the price is actually holding below for us to look for selling opportunities. Because you can see the price has been within this area before. So don't think that it has gone so far that the price cannot come back in. You can see the last time that happened, look at how aggressive the buyers actually were able to take it up higher. So just watch out for such a location. We're able to get the price holding within this area, then we should be able to continue looking for selling opportunities on the euro against the Japanese yen. So I hope that's clear on the game plan of what we're looking at from the euro pairs. So you can see mix and match the euro with all the pairs on the buy side. So right now we're going to do the same thing with the Canadian dollar pairs. So we'll start off here with the New Zealand dollar against Canadian dollar. Now, yesterday, our bias here was to look for buying opportunities. You can see the three areas that John had pointed out. Now, at 10 o'clock during the London market open, you can see the price did actually start breaking this area to the upside. Price looked as if it had a small hold above, and you can see it did end up attempting to go up higher. Could not really go past this particular area. You can see that did seem to be quite a bit of sellers here. So you can see the last time the price managed to get all the way there. Very aggressive buyers, and you can see the price still managed to come back in. So we need confirmation that the price is actually holding above a level. As you can see, it did end up coming within that location, but it came back down. You can see the market has been some quite choppy, ranging within this area. That means that this level, this is high, especially if you go up to a higher time frame. Let's say let's go up to the 4-hour time frame. You can see this is a very big high that the price has actually been bouncing off from, clearly on the 4-hour time frame. And you can see, based on the 4-hour time frame, that level has still not been broken. Every time the price goes up, it comes back in. It tries to go up, it comes back in. So right now, that's the reason why we still have the levels in the same area. But right now, if the price is attempting to break this area to the upside, we have not yet gotten confirmation for that, because remember, we need the price to actually give us a pullback, confirming that the price is actually going to hold above. So we'll wait to see what ends up happening. And that's the reason why we're still focusing on the levels that we did have yesterday for the aggressive, or at least for the buying opportunities. So the fact that right now we are within that area, let's wait to see if we can end up getting that pullback coming in, because you can clearly see it's not done that at any point in time. You see the price actually holding above, then we should be able to look for buying opportunities there. But if you are looking for buys there, do make sure you're managing your trade within this support and resistance area. You can see that's definitely an area where sellers have reacted from before. They could potentially react from there again. So do make sure you do some sort of trade management. So hope that is clear on the New Zealand dollar against Canadian dollar. So moving on to the next Canadian dollar pair, we do have the British pound against Canadian dollar. Now on this kind of pair, our bias yesterday was to look for buying opportunities. Seems that the buys did end up working out during the London session. You can see the price broke the upside. We did get a pullback. It attempted to come down lower, could not hold, but it ended up coming back and holding above, giving us multiple probes. So you can see it ended up attempting to go up higher. Similar situation. 3, we got a pullback coming back in within this buyer's area. But you can see at 4:30, that's what it seems when we did really get confirmation that the price was fully holding to the upside. And you can see the price has managed to continue going up. Right now, the fact that the price is really pushing to the upside. Remember, we did have a number of fundamentals just right now at 9 o'clock. You can see British pound fundamentals, all positive. Some euro fundamentals were negative, even though it's green. This is not positive news, so do be careful about that. But those are concepts we do end up teaching within the AMP course. But this move to the upside, this is definitely happening right now. So even though these were the levels that we're looking at, I'll quickly go up to a higher time frame to identify what would be the next area that the buyers, or at least the price, could end up reacting from. So seems that the market is really quite running away. It hasn't been here in a very long time, clearly, as you can see. Trying to look for a new level where the price has been within this particular area. Seems the last time the price was here was in 2018, so a number of years ago. But we do end up seeming to approaching a particular location. So let's just wait to see, especially this being on the daily time frame. We should be able to identify certain levels, at least especially with this bigger time frame. So we can see there's a support and resistance area there, a high right there. So if we do end up going back to our pricing right now, at least where we are, that might be where the buyers are, or at least buyers could end up reacting from. So it's been quite a while. I had to go nearly 10 years back. So let's go back to the 15. They can see that major level is still right there. So there's a lot of strength coming in on the British pound pairs. Remember, do not chase the market. The fact that the price has already gone all the way up within this area, the main question you need to ask is, where are you going to put your stop loss? Because if you're buying here, you're expecting the price to really go up much higher. Remember, never trade without a stop loss. So right now, we'll wait to see what ends up happening. This one will just mainly need a pullback coming in before we're able to look for a buying opportunity. But right now, if the train seems to have already left the station, but let's see if there will be another opportunity later on. So moving on to the next Canadian dollar pair, we do have the Australian dollar against Canadian dollar. Now, in this kind of pair, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. Now, the price did manage to break this area to the upside, was all the way within this particular area when we did want to look for a buy. Remember, we did point out we need the price to potentially pull back within this support and resistance area. We do not want to chase the buys all the way at the top. You can see that it was during the US session that the price actually started giving us a pullback coming in. And it was around 4:30 or so that the price did end up testing within this area, attempting to go up. But it seems that the big boys during the London session, sorry, the US session yesterday, were not very interested in taking this price up higher. But you can see today, during the Asian session, because remember, we are dealing with the Australian dollar pair. The Australian dollar currency is way more active during the Asian session, because remember, that is when the economy is awake. Everyone is awake. Everyone is trading, they're buying, they're selling things. So there's a lot of volatility and activity on the Australian dollar. That's why you find a lot of pairs that are active within those sessions are usually actually awake at that time. So remember that during the Asian session, you find the yen pairs, the New Zealand dollar pairs, the Australian dollar pairs moving a lot. Similar situation with the London session, you find the Swiss franc, the British pound, and the euro. And the US, you'll find the Canadian dollar pairs as well as the US dollar pairs. So just be aware of that. So in this situation, it did seem to start moving to the upside. Even though we're right now, we have approached, or at least we're seeing that the buyers are coming in, we're so close within the seller area. So no buying opportunity just yet. What we need is a breach or something like the sort. Price holds above, we can be able to look for a buying opportunity there. There's potential that this price could actually even range. Because you can see the fact that we're bounced off these levels. Don't be surprised that the price actually gives you a pullback, comes back within this area, then you're able to look for a buying opportunity then. But here we'll be waiting to see what ends up happening. We need a breach or a pullback. But for right now, there's nothing much we can do on the Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar. Now, moving on to the next brand new entrant of our watch list, and the last Canadian dollar pair we do have is the Canadian dollar against the Japanese yen. So on this pair, our bias here is going to be looking for selling opportunities. The yens had been showing a lot of weakness earlier, but the fact that the prices had started coming down, we did end up getting some positive yen news earlier today morning. And you can see during the Asian session, the way they are starting to show that strength on the yen. Remember, strength on the yen, since the yen is the counter currency, it means the price will be going down. So in this situation, since our bias here is to look for selling opportunities, we're still within a bias area, not necessarily broken this area to the downside. So let's wait to see if we can end up getting this breach to the downside, price holding below for us to look for sell. Remember, yen pairs are very much correlated. We've had a look at this Canadian dollar against the yen, potential breach to the downside for us to look for sell. But if you look at the euro against the yen, you can see something similar. And remember, we did point out that there was a bias area here near the price holding below. So you can be able to identify clues based on watching multiple yens. So not necessarily just looking at one and saying, since the price has held below, let me jump in on a sell. If you look at the other ones, if all of them are showing a probe, then chances are that is not a good time to look for those trades. So here we'll wait to see what ends up happening. If the price still holds above, don't be surprised we get the price actually giving us more of a pullback, potentially even coming all the way to the top there before we're able to look for selling opportunities. So we do watch out for that. So hope everything is clear on the euro as well as the Canadian dollar pairs. So let's move on to the Swiss franc pairs and mix and match them the exact same way. So we'll start off here with the New Zealand dollar against the Swiss franc. Here, our bias was to look for buying opportunities, and it is still today. You can see yesterday, the price really took off to the upside, working out a lot during the Asian session as well as during the London session. Wanted to see a pullback coming back within this support and resistance area. But you can clearly see during the US session, price was all the way at the top, and that's when the pullback started coming in. Could not necessarily get all the way down lower, but you can see during the Asian session, that's when we finally were able to come back and test this area that was breached to the downside. And you can see the kind of reaction that we are getting. The buyers definitely ended up showing up within that location. So we'll still be looking for buying opportunities on this pair. Right now, we're so close within a seller's area. Let's wait to see what ends up happening. If these sellers don't necessarily react, could end up getting the price coming back in within this buyer's area for us to look for a buying opportunity. Or you might even find the market potentially jumping into some sort of small range even here. But you can see there's also a buyer's area right here. Let's point this out. Does seem to be a buyer's area right there. Maybe this could have ended up even being a probe. So price might not necessarily also get all the way there. Might approach this particular buyer's area there before looking for a buying opportunity. just wait to see what ends up happening, how the sellers end up coming in before we're able to look for those buying opportunities. But be aware, the price is not able to take off within here. Could even still get the price coming back all the way down to the red support and resistance area before we're able to look for those buying opportunities. So hope the game plan is clear on what the New Zealand dollar against Swiss franc we're looking to do. Right now, even though we're reacting from there, let's wait to see if we can get such at least the price coming in a bit lower. Remember, if we're looking for buys, our first problem area is right here. So we don't want to jump in and buying opportunities when the we will end up having an issue very, very close to us. So moving on to the next currency pair we do have, this is the British pound against the Swiss franc. This pair, our bias here was to look for buying opportunities yesterday. The buys did work out quite well, as you can clearly see the three areas that John had pointed out. Now, during the session, you can clearly see, wanted to see either the price coming back in and holding below, or breaching to the upside and holding above. Now, during the London session, we did see the price coming down low. So we're thinking that if the price ended up holding below at that time, we could have potentially looked for sales. But unfortunately, that did not end up happening. You can see it actually probed and came to the upside. So it wasn't the first game plan, or at least it seems like it did ended up doing what John had predicted here, waiting for a breach to the upside. And you can see the breach ended up happening during the London session, but you can clearly see there was a pullback coming in. Fortunately, it seems that a lot of things ended up moving at 2 p.m. yesterday, but you can see the price confirmed that it was holding above that area, and that's when it actually took off to the upside. So you can clearly see the bias. Look for those buys did end up working out quite well. But we've approached an area where there's sellers, and you can clearly see how many times that this price has actually attempted to come down lower, has not been able to. But right now, if we're able to get the price breaking this area to the upside, it could be a nice buying opportunity available for us. Remember, we just had a look at the British pound pairs. They're showing a bit of strength, but if you compare how the British pound against the Canadian dollar has gone up, and you compare with the British pound against the Swiss franc, the British pound against the Canadian dollar looks much better. So you start to wonder what is happening with the Swiss franc. Maybe the Swiss franc is not trading. Maybe it's fighting back right now because it's not necessarily been a huge breach. So you never know if the price could end up actually coming back down. But you can clearly see how many times it's attempted to break this area to the downside. If these prices are not good enough, we could still see the price coming back in before we're able to look for those buying opportunities. But remember, if we are able to get the price confirming that the price is actually going to hold above this area to the upside, then we should be able to continue looking for buying opportunities then on the British pound against the Swiss franc. So I hope the game plan is clear on what we're looking at doing there, that Swiss franc pair. So moving on to the next Swiss franc pair we do have is the Australian dollar against the Swiss franc. Now, in this kind of pair, our bias here is to look for buying opportunities. You can see the trade worked out nicely during the London session. As you can see, once the price broke to the upside, we get the price confirming that it was holding above. It give us a number of, sometimes you can see from 10 all the way till around 11. So there was a nice buying opportunity there to take the price up higher throughout the London session. But you can see the reason why we always tell you, make sure you're managing your trades either at 3 or at 4:30. As you can see from 3, that's when the market did end up attempting to start coming down. In fact, from 4:30, the price was all the way at the top. And you can see the way the sellers really did come down aggressive. But the fact is, we have approached this particular buyer's area. We're still holding within this location. So we'll definitely still be looking for buying opportunities. We could potentially be jumping into some sort of range. Maybe the Swiss franc is attempting to show a bit of strength, meaning might not necessarily be the overall strength of the Swiss franc. They could be on pullbacks. So meaning that temporary strength is the reason why these prices haven't fully gone. Because remember, we ended up having a look at the other Swiss franc pairs. They're all doing the same thing. Remember, we pointed out the British pound against Swiss franc could have some issues, as well as the New Zealand dollar against Swiss franc. We could end up seeing more of a pullback. So just be careful if you're going to look for those trading opportunities on these Swiss franc pairs. Let's hope to see if we can end up getting this pullback coming in, potentially within this particular area right here, for us to look for those buying opportunities. But be aware, you also have some sort of small support and resistance area here, could have been a probe. So you never know if the price could end up just bouncing off this particular location right here before it actually ends up going to the upside. But remember, we'd rather look for our buying opportunities at a much lower price where the main buyers are, but just be careful about that particular location. So hope that is clear as we move on to the last Swiss franc pair. And here we have the Swiss franc against the Japanese yen. Now you can see that same correlation on all these yen pairs. Looks like we're looking at this exact same pair. Says that they're slightly different. You can see the price was holding within this particular buyer's area, where it did look as if it's attempting to break this area to the downside. And remember, we did end up seeing probes happening on the Canadian dollar against the yen and the euro against the yen. You can clearly see it's a similar situation. But now you need to start to wonder, when you go to the other pairs, you can clearly see the yen giving us those pullbacks coming in. So let's wait to see if we can end up getting those prices coming in within those locations. But right now, we definitely need to be a bit patient on these yen pairs. Either a breach to the downside, or we could end up getting the price, remember, coming back all the way within the seller's area before we're able to look for those selling opportunities here. So I hope that is clear on what we're looking at doing on the Swiss franc against the Japanese yen. So you can see we'll mix and match the euro, the Canadian dollar, and the Swiss franc for all these pairs on the buy side. So right now we're going to do the same thing with the US dollar pairs before we do have a look at the indices. So we'll start off here with the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. Here, these are brand new entries on our watch list. But remember, both the New Zealand dollar and the US dollar were both on the same side yesterday. So in this situation, our bias here is to look for buying opportunities. So we'll be focusing on these three areas to find potential buys. Right now, you can clearly see where we are at. We do seem as if we're within an area where there are sellers. Look at how many times the market has actually probed this area to the upside. Right now, with the fact that the price is within here, this does not confirm that this market has actually breached that area. The only way we can get confirmation is if the price actually holds above. We do see the price holding above, then definitely we should be able to continue with our buying opportunities. But if not, the price, remember, can still give us a pullback within this particular location. As you can see, the buyers have reacted from here multiple times. We could potentially enter into some sort of range. Maybe the big boys could be loading up some orders there before we do end up seeing the price actually taking off to the upside. But right now, we'll just be a bit patient, wait to see whether or not we can fully get a proper nice hold. Because you can see how many times the price has approached this area. And look at how the sellers have reacted. Every time the price approaches such an area, look at how aggressive it is. So don't be surprised. The fact that we're saying there could be a buy here, don't be surprised, because you can clearly see if it's happened before, it could end up happening again. So hope that's clear on what we're looking at doing on the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. So right now, we'll move on to the next currency pair, which is the British pound against the US dollar. You can see brand new entry in our watch list, but the same thing that's happening. A lot of strength coming in on the British pound pairs. And you can definitely see that is what's happening right now. We're just getting a proper break this particular structure to the upside. So remember, we do not want to chase the market, because right now, everyone who is buying right now definitely will have their stop losses below here. So that's why you end up finding, and most people think that it's a broker coming out for them, but you can end up probably getting the price coming all the way down there, giving some sort of probe, stopping all those people out. Because at that point in time, as soon as the price ends up approaching here, all those people who are thinking buy are no longer thinking buy there. At that point in time, they actually switch their bias and they start looking for selling opportunities. And remember, in order for the buyers to take off, they need sellers to come in. They don't want to make it very obvious when everyone is actually jumping on buys. So we'll wait to see what ends up happening here. We'll wait for that pullback. If the price continues going, let it go. We'll wait for a discount another point in time, or we'll end up looking for another currency pair. So hope that is clear on at least what we're looking at on the British pound against the US dollar. So we'll move on to the next US dollar pair, which is the Australian dollar against the US dollar. Similar situation. These are brand new entry in our watch list. You can see with all these US dollar pairs, they're all within the seller's area, except for the British pound against the US dollar. But that just shows that it is the British pound showing a lot of strength. So right now, the fact that we're within a seller's area, definitely not a good place to look for your buying opportunities. So remember what we need, either a break to the upside in our hold before we're able to look for a buy. Remember, you can see the price has attempted to break this area to the upside, but the fact that the price came back in and is holding below this level is still holding. So if you can get the price coming up and holding above, then we should be able to look for buying opportunities there. But if not, remember, we want to end up seeing, you can end up getting our buying opportunities much lower price as well. So don't be surprised if the price ends up approaching within that location, but we keep on pointing out, buy with buyers and sell with sellers. So the fact that the price is there, and we could end up expecting the buy down here. Watch out for other areas where buyers have reacted from before. You can see this, there seems to be a small area where you can see some buyers have pushed up from there before. They've done that again as well here. So there's still a potential that the price can end up just coming back towards this area. So watch out for those market opening times. Remember, we keep on pointing out 10, 3, and 4:30. You could get some nice trading opportunities within those specific times. So Hope that is clear as we move on to the last US dollar pair we do have. So this is the US dollar against the Japanese yen. Now, we did have this pair yesterday. However, it was for a buying opportunity. Remember, the US dollar and the Japanese yen have both switched sides. So that's the reason why yesterday we were looking for buying opportunities because the US dollar was strong, the yen was weak. But right now, we have switched sides. So the US dollar is weak and the yen is strong, meaning now we'll actually be looking for selling opportunities here. So you can see the three areas that John had pointed out. The trade worked out very nicely during the London session. Similar situation with most of the yen pairs. At 10 o'clock, price came back within a buyer's area. Fortunately, could not get all the way to the main buyers. You can see the price did manage to continue taking off to the upside. Around 3 o'clock, we ended up attempting to get some push to the upside, but at 4:30, the price was all the way at the top in a seller's area. And these are the key points that we keep on mentioning. 10, 3, and 4:30, if the price is within a buyer's or seller's area, there's a high likelihood that that area could end up reacting, whether it's for the pullback or whether it's for the main move. So right here, you can see the pullback side coming in and the fact that the biases have switched. We will be looking for those selling opportunities on this pair. So we'll be focusing still on the same areas, because if you realize the market structure does seem to be a range, because you can see the price does seem to be bouncing off these two levels. So even though we're looking for those selling opportunities, remember, best place to look for the sell is at the top of the range, or could end up getting the price breaking this area to the downside, holding below for us to be able to continue looking for selling opportunities. But remember, even though the best place to look for the sell is at the top, do watch out for this middle lesson. Now you can see how many times it's tested that location before we are attempting to come down lower. So maybe right now, if this price has not been able to come all the way down, maybe we could end up getting some sort of probe, inciting more people to buy, getting a better price before we're able to actually come to the downside. So we'll definitely be watching out for that on the US dollar against Japanese yen. So hope that is clear on all the currency pairs. As you can see, we'll mix and match all the pairs on the sell side with the pairs on the buy side. Now, in terms of fundamentals, one thing to note is there's not really much coming out today, weirdly enough, on a Friday. So we do end up having a number of speeches coming out during the London session, some yen speech as well as some GBP speeches that are coming out. But you can see during the US session, we only have mainly some Canadian dollar news, some retail sales. So we do end up expecting some volatility on the Canadian dollar. It's showing a bit of weakness. Maybe there might be a pullback within there. But after that, there's not necessarily going to be much activity, especially even for the US dollar. So our watch list will pretty much remain the same for today. So let's jump into the indices. Before we do look at gold and silver, then I can be able to address any question on the Q&A section if there are any. So here we have the US 100, or sorry, the NAS 100. So here we're meant to be looking for buying opportunities yesterday. You can see, just adjust this, the three areas that John had pointed out. Now the price looked as if it had really started taking off the upside. What we wanted was a pullback to come in for us to look for the buy, but unfortunately, sometimes this is what ends up happening when the price ends up really being very strong. We did not get any pullback, because you can see as the price was continuing to go to the upside, there was no opportunity for us to end up looking for any buying opportunity, because you can see the market just kept on making higher highs and higher lows. Not once did we end up getting any type of discount for us to end up looking for any sell or buying opportunity. The only discount that has started coming in is right now. That is what we're seeing. So overall, we'll definitely still be looking for buying opportunities. Levels have been adjusted quite a bit, because the markets really did move very, very aggressively to the upside. So overall, we're definitely still going to be looking for buying opportunities, but we do need a pullback to come in. So we'll be waiting to see how far the market can come down low. Even though we have identified there certain small levels, can see an area where buyers have reacted from before, but this might not necessarily be the best area, especially due to the fact that the price has really gone up quite high. So especially if you go up to a much larger time frame, you can see the push to the upside. We could end up getting the price giving us more of a pullback coming in. And you can see the last time price was here, we're right at the highest point. So do end up expecting some sort of pullback within that location. So right now, we do need patience. Let's wait to see how far the sellers can come in before we're able to look for those buying opportunities. But I do know we do end up explaining such concepts within the AMP course. I do know the students who we're dealing with now should be realizing a few things on that pair. So we'll move on to the next currency pair we do have. Sorry about that. So we'll be moving on to the Dow Jones. So now on the Dow Jones yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. It is still the same situation today. Can see the price was in an area where they're sellers, so we did not want to jump in and buying opportunities then. But you can see we wanted to see either a pullback coming in or a breach to the upside. And once a breach happened, we wanted to get the pullback coming in and holding above. So you can see the second situation happened where the price really broke the upside, quite aggressive. Wanted to see a pullback coming in. That pullback came in much later. You can see the US session came in 4:30. The price now didn't manage to come and spike down, coming a bit close within this particular area, although that was around 6 p.m. So that would have been a bit difficult to get. But I think Dan Bickett, I think he did manage to grab that trade. So he did manage to grab that buying opportunity going to the upside. So very, very well done on that buy. So the bias today is definitely still going to be looking for buying opportunities. So we'll be focusing on these three areas to look for the buys. So right now, where we're at, we're within an area where the sellers. So obviously, that is not a place we should be looking for any buying opportunities just yet. So the game plan that we had yesterday needs one of two things: either a breach to the upside, price actually holding above for us to look for a buying opportunity, or we do need to end up getting this price giving us more of a pullback coming in within this particular area before we're able to look for those buying opportunities. So we'll be watching out for something like that. But ideally, that is what we'll be looking at doing. Right now, there's nothing much we can do. Price between a seller's AM. We're not looking for sales because we can clearly see the overall flow of the market is to the upside. So we always want to trade in the side of the big boy. So hope that is clear on the Dow Jones as we move on to silver. So at least we're moving on to the metals now. So starting off with silver here. Yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. It is still the same situation today. The levels have been adjusted slightly. As you can see, the three areas that we have pointed out now. At 10 o'clock, the price looked as if it was breaking this area to the upside. Did seem it came back to some sort of extreme, hardly went anywhere before 3 o'clock, or at least the US session came in. The price really came in a bit deeper, hardly holding to the downside. So this one was quite choppy, playing around within these areas. That's possibly why even Bravin did not manage to send in a screenshot today. But that's okay. Today, hopefully, we'll end up seeing some nice moves coming in. So we'll be waiting to see if we can grab some buying opportunities based on these three areas. So right now, we're definitely within an area where there's sellers, so no buying opportunity just yet. It does seem that it's lining up with the fact that the US dollar is showing a lot of weakness. And that's the reason why you're finding these indices as well as gold and silver do seem to be going up. So right now, the fact that within a seller's area, nothing for us to do. We need that pullback coming in potentially within this area for us to look for the buy. Or remember, we need the price to actually break in this area to the upside. And on the pullback, once we do get the price holding above, that's when we can be able to look for buys. You can't see how many times that this area has reacted within the seller, but the first time that they reacted within this location, you can see how far they came, all the way down till there. For the second time, they only came down to within this particular area. So there's a possibility the third time might not necessarily get all the way down to here. Maybe it might come back towards this buyer's area. Just watch out for certain things. But remember, watch out for buyers and sellers' areas within the market opening times. So I hope that's clear on the game plan for silver. So moving on to the last pair we do look at, which is gold. So gold yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. And you can see the three areas we had pointed out to look for those buying opportunities. Now, it did look as if the price was attempting to break this area to the upside. So in fact, we'll start off here. So during the London session, we did get a breach to the upside. The price did end up holding above, so there was a small buying opportunity then. Now, the price managed to go all the way up, approach this main seller's area right there. Wanted to see the price actually coming back in and holding above. But you can see the price attempted to hold above at 3. Price actually ended up coming down very aggressively, coming down towards this buyer's area. You can see around 4:30, we started getting these probes and price action signals within this area for potential buying opportunities there. Now, you can see if you did miss that trade, there was also another buying opportunity because you can see this was the area that we did have yesterday. The fact that the price managed to break this area to the upside, you can see it kept on holding. It seems that during the Asian session, that's when the price has really started going to the upside, at least continuing to go to the upside. So overall here, our bias is still to look for buying opportunities. Right now, I think this is one of the highest prices gold has been. And so we'll be waiting to see. Let me just quickly go to a higher time frame. to see what levels, if there are any. I don't even think there are any, since this is the highest the price has actually been. Yep. So gold has never been this high in terms of pricing. So right now, we're in no man's land. So there's nothing really much we can do in terms of knowing where the top is. The main thing we know, in order for us to look for buying opportunities, we need that pullback. We've just broken this support and resistance area. So do not start jumping in on buying opportunities, because where are you going to actually target? Meaning, as you're looking for those buys, you're trying to assume, or at least you're stating that gold will even go much, much higher than the highest price. You never actually know that. So the best thing for us to do is always wait for a discount before we're able to buy something. I mean, you do not necessarily go to a store and look to buy something at the most expensive price. I mean, I think most people will obviously ask for a discount, ask for the best price, or look for another store where you're going to be able to get what you need. So similar situation here. Don't buy at such a high price. Let's wait for the price to come back down. Be a bit patient. You do not need gold right now. I mean, no one really needs to go buy gold so that they can go do something for their day-to-day. We're just traders. So if the big boys need it, ideally, since that's the case, we just need to end up getting it at a cheaper price to be able to sell to them at a higher price. So let's wait to see what ends up happening here on gold. So that's pretty much it on all the currency pairs, including gold and silver. So that is it for today's session. So let me see if there are any questions on the Q&A section. So I'm not seeing much. I'm seeing Alan Ronan is saying, hi, Mitch, thanks a lot. Karibu sana, Alan. I'm glad that you're here as well. So well, I'm seeing a question here. So from Caroline Monique, you're asking, after major news, let's say a currency pair was bearish. Then when the news happens, it turns out to be bullish. Does it go back to being bearish when the news are over? Not necessarily. Now, the fundamentals, and remember, when we look at these news, it's not necessarily that the news is going to affect the market as soon as the news event comes out. Remember, we need a big boy to actually move the market. So the big boys would end up only coming out within when they're actually opening. So that's the reason why we keep on mentioning 10, 3, and 4:30, because there are different big boys in London, there are different big boys in the US. So once a news event comes out, the main thing we're looking at is what kind of movement do we see? And do we see that kind of movement on all across the board? So if it's, let's say, US dollar news, do we see US dollar showing weakness, let's say, everywhere? Not just on one pair. Like the similar situation with right now, we've looked at the euro pairs saying that they're weak, as well as the British pound pairs, but the fact that the euro pairs, we can see a number of them did end up starting to show a bit of weakness. Can clearly see that weakness, but we've also had a look at the British pound pairs really showing a lot of strength right now. So the fact that you know that the British pound are showing strength, you know that that's what possibly the big boys are looking to do. So the news doesn't just automatically let me say, how do you say this? When the news event comes out, that's what the big boys use to decide where the price is going to go. So if you see the price already moving after that news event, most likely that's where the market is going to continue going at that point in time, right? So it's not that once a news event is over, then it comes back. Because at that point in time, when is a news event actually over? Yes, they announce it, but the big boys will still use that information throughout the month. Let's say for interest rates, if they get an interest rate and they know that, let's say, the euro have increased their interest rates. If they have their money in dollars, and remember, here they're dealing with billions and trillions of dollars. So now the fact that if you're dealing with billions, if you have over, let's say, 10 billion, and you have the interest rate just to increase by 0.5% or even 1% or 0.%, that's millions in profit that a company can end up getting just by putting their money from the dollar just to the euro. That's why you find now, let's say, once the interest rate comes out, you find the price of the euro going up because many people are trying to look to buy that in order to save that, right? So I hope at least that is clear, right? But yeah, very good question for that, Caroline. Glad to hear you are good as well. So I think that is it. I'm not seeing any more questions. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. Really do appreciate it. Hope you guys have found value and learned a lot. Remember, if you do want more education, feel free to reach out to us. Our contact details are right there in the chat box. Or you can go to our website, afriforex.com, and you can be able to get more information there. We do have some free education where you can be able to pick up a number of, at least get that basics down with how we're actually looking at the market. But if you want more information or at least more courses, We do have a number of courses available for us. We have the masterclass. It's an online course. You can be able to do it wherever you are, anytime you want, as well as the AMP. So this is a program that we're running where we're looking to trade with traders every single day. So we do end up having a session with a number of traders in a few minutes. So we'll be meeting up with them. We'll analyze all these pairs that we've looked at. The same way we've come and identified, yes, this is strong, this is weak. Now we'll come into each individual pair and look to see, okay, what are we meant to do? We'll set alerts, look for trading opportunities, but be learning at the process. So we know that's something of value. And if you are interested, feel free to sign up. There should be a link in the chat box, or you can be able to go to our website. So I want to thank you guys so much once again. We really do appreciate it. Hope to see you guys Monday morning, 9 a.m. Hope you guys have an amazing trading day and a great weekend as well. God bless and bye for now. Cheers, guys.